objectives as a program. And he agreed. I met with Sean this morning in person to inform him of my decision. Following that, I met with the coaching staff and our student athletes. I want to thank Sean and his family sincerely for their 12 years of service to this program as the leader of our men's basketball program. Can't thank him enough for that. We've continued to let the NCAA investigation process play out. And quite frankly, it's played out far longer than any of us could have expected. The timing of that process does not preclude my continual evaluations of the program and the very high expectations we have for it. Because the program is not meeting those high expectations, I felt it was necessary to make a change in leadership and move in a new direction. And in doing so, we will honor our remaining contractual commitment to Sean. As I noted in my earlier statement, we have a storied men's basketball program with unbelievable support, facilities, resources. While we will not put a timetable on our search, we'll move very quickly, as quickly as possible, and we'll include a broad array of candidates. Identifying coaches who exhibit integrity, competitiveness, and a genuine care for student athletes. I'm confident that we'll have a very diverse pool of candidates and will ultimately find the right fit for the Arizona men's basketball program. So with that, Matt, I'll turn it back over to you. And again, I look forward to visiting with everyone.
All righty, our first question will be from David Kelly, KVOA. David.
Hey, Dave, I'll give you two questions here. First of all, in terms of the coaches you have on staff, would there be a possibility that you could move forward with an interim situation through this entire season with Jack Murphy and, say, Jason Terry, if that's a possibility? And also, why the decision to do this now versus right at the end of the season?
As I've mentioned in the statement, Jack Murphy is our interim head coach. He will navigate the program with the support of the current staff through our search period. We will be in an active search, and it's an optimal time to find a new head coach. We will move forward with that. Why now? These are difficult decisions. There's never a perfect time, but after the conclusion of the season, taking some time to evaluate all the factors, considering that very closely, having the appropriate conversations, and consulting with President Robbins, we just concluded it was time for a fresh start. So it was time to make a change.
I'll go to Jason Barr, K-Gun 9. Jason.
Hi, Dave. Thanks for taking a few minutes. Certainly, Coach Miller won a ton of games during the regular season and did get to 3 Elite Eights. How much of this was on the court and how much of this was off the court due to the investigations?
Again, I think we're evaluating the overall position of the program, and that includes on-court and off-court elements to it. And then when you step back and evaluate where the program is, we have incredibly high standards to be a program that has success at all levels, on and off the court. And when we evaluated it at this point in time, we feel like it's the appropriate time to make a change so that we can, again, restore, begin to rebuild the overall high caliber status of this incredible world-class basketball program.
Next, we'll go to Bruce Pascoe, Arizona Daily Star. Bruce.
Yeah, Dave, I'm sorry, my computer crashed when you had the question before from David Kelly, but the timing of this, was this, I'm wondering, was there a thought to doing this maybe after you got the notice of allegations in October or when you finished your own investigation? Because at that point you kind of knew what was being alleged, at least, and I'm wondering why a decision wasn't made at that point.
Again, Bruce, as I mentioned, we taking all of the factors into consideration. I'm continuously evaluating the status of our program. At the conclusion of the season, we had the full body of work. We knew where we stood. We, again, decided at that time, now that the season had concluded, that it was time to move on.
Okay, and would this technically fall under the firing without cause on the contract where I think you pay him 50% when you talk about the full amount owed, or are you about paying him the full amount of what he would have earned if he was coaching next season?
That's correct. We'll follow exactly what the contract allows for, and as it dictates.
Okay, so the buyout clause basically, as it's written, which is
Yeah,
50% of his base.
correct.
Base
We
guarantee.
separated without cause.
Okay,
Again, in the best interest of everyone concerned. And that's correct. The clause in the contract will dictate the financial piece of it.
okay. And if I could throw more at you, do you have to post this for like a week? Is there a waiting period, or are these kind of jobs exempt from that requirement with the university?
We'll move forward appropriately with our HR department here on campus, and we'll move swiftly and hire someone as quickly as we possibly can. We'll be going at it 24/7.
Okay, thanks.
All right, we'll go to the chat for the queue. Next up would be Jeff Goodman, Stadium. Jeff?
Hey, Dave. How much will you guys focus on looking at somebody within the family, the Arizona family, as opposed to looking from the outside when you're going through this process now?
Well, there's certainly some incredibly outstanding individuals that are in the game of basketball that have had a huge impact on our program here, and continue to do that throughout the coaching ranks. I would assume that they would be very viable candidates for this. This is a high-level job, high-level program. I think our interest will come from a variety of places. And our goal is to find the right person that's the right fit for Arizona basketball.
Will you hire a search firm, Dave? I've been told you will. You're planning to?
We will have a search firm that will help us manage this process.
Okay.
Back to the queue, Bailey O'Carroll, KOLD. Bailey?
Hi, Dave. I know you mentioned that you had met with student athletes and kind of told them the news. What did you exactly tell them, and what was their reaction?
Well, again, I don't think I'm going to get it directly into the specifics of that meeting, but again, we had our coaches there as well as our student athletes and some other members of the staff around the program. These are difficult times. It's a challenging time when you have to make a change. But to stay focused, that we will move quickly. We will hire an outstanding coach. And our goal is, again, to help them with their experience here and all facets of their college experience and beyond. We want them to meet their goals. We want them to play for championships. We want them to excel at a high level. And so I told them that we are 100% committed to that, and we will go out and find an excellent new head coach for this program.
Jason Shear, Wildcat Authority. Jason?
Two questions, Dave. Number one, how much of a factor did the Arizona Board of Regents play in this decision in terms of your ability to extend Miller once the contract ran out?
Extension was one of those factors and something we considered. Again, I'm not going to speak on behalf of the board or for the board in any way. But again, we considered those things, and we got to the point where we felt that it was best to move forward and change direction of our leadership.
And then with the buyout in football with Kevin Sumlin and all that, where are the financials coming from? What are your thoughts on the overall financials in terms of being able to hire a new basketball coach?
Yeah, again, we'll with the buyout, we'll absorb that within our athletic budget, and we'll be paid through revenues from the athletic department. We feel very confident that we can attract and put together a very good package for a new head coach.
Thank you.
Ann Ryman, Arizona Republic. Ann?
Hope, Ann, you're on mute.
Ann, you're on mute.
Okay, can you hear me?
Got it.
Okay, thank you. Could you clarify the exact dollar amount of Coach Miller's buyout? And also, could you address the criticisms that have arisen about, there's so much with this NCAA allegations that have come out. Why was this decision not made sooner?
The exact amounts, I guess I'm not gonna be able to quote the exact amount, Ann. I think we can get that to you. It's still being determined. It is 50% of the remaining amount of his compensation. That's what it calls for. I couldn't quote the exact amount based on what he has left on, what Coach Miller has left on his contract. So the second question again about NCAA, can you do that again?
Yes, with all these allegations that have come out for the past several years, why now? Why did you not make the decision earlier?
Well, again, I think we've been very clear. We've wanted to allow the process to go as long and as far as it can. That doesn't mean that along that timeline that we aren't continually reviewing our program and the status of that program. On, off the court, all of the issues around a major college basketball program. And so while those are factors, those are just some of the factors. And again, we feel like we've allowed that process. We didn't think it would take this long, but at this point we need to move forward. And again, we think that's best for a fresh start and that's best for everyone involved.
We'll go to Pete Thamel, Yahoo Sports. Pete, you're next. Pete, you're still on mute.
I don't see.
Pete?
Sorry about that, Dave. You'd think after a year I'd know how to use mute. Since the federal basketball investigation went public in September of 17, Sean Miller has made at least $12 million from the University of Arizona. I'm just wondering what message it says that not only was he able to keep his job, but also that Arizona fired him and is giving him probably $1.5 million to go away, in terms of how a school like Arizona handles NCAA allegations.
Again, I think we've been very clear. We've cooperated at every level with the NCAA in the investigation. We have been very clear that we would follow process, continue to let that process move forward. As I said, we've been incredibly cooperative, and you know, that's what we've done from the very beginning. And at this point, again, as we evaluate the overall position of our men's basketball program, it was time to part ways and give it a fresh start.
So you've said this a couple of times in a couple of different ways, Dave. Or is it fair to read that this was as much because the program had lagged on the court as the allegations off it?
Again, we have very high standards for our basketball program, for all of our programs here. Alignment with the values of this university. Success is important. High performance is important. Again, both on and off the court. And we're constantly evaluating that. We have not been on the competitive side probably as successful as we've wanted, but there are a number of factors that impact that. Again, as we look at those in totality, we make an evaluation, and today as we stand, it's time for a change in that direction, and a change in leadership is the first step.
We'll go to Brian Peterson, Arizona Desert Swarm. Brian?
Dave, are you concerned that the fact that the investigation is not over and you haven't received final word from IARP is going to impact the interest in coaches? And what would you say to them if they asked, what do I do if we get hit with a 2-year ban or something to that? Will I get assurances that I'll be able to stick around long enough to see this through?
I think that experienced candidates that will come into this pool and evaluate this job will understand the process and understand what the ultimate outcomes will be. And we'll still have the opportunity to attract and design a package and a contract with a coach that will be very acceptable.
Thank you.
Justin Spears, Arizona Daily Star. Justin?
Dave, when did you ultimately make the decision to let go of Sean Miller? I know you said you met with him this morning, but when did you come to, a realization that this was the decision that you wanted to make?
And we've been considering this, and again, as we evaluated a number of different areas of the program and where we wanted to go forward. But ultimately, that decision was made, late the last evening or early this morning, prior to arriving at the office and meeting with Coach Miller.
And what are the requirements for this job in your opinion?
Again, I think we need an outstanding leader. We need a person who can come in, a high level basketball coach that understands how to run a program of success in this day and age of basketball. But we need a person that can lead the program with great integrity. That's what this program, this athletic program, is about. And we look forward to attracting that kind of individual. Need a leader of our student athletes. We need someone who, again, understands the full college experience and wants to help our student athletes grow. At the same time, student athletes that come here in all of our sports want to compete at the very highest level and beyond, and beyond the college level. So we want, people that come in and have those aspirations, and we want a head coach that can design a program for that. This is a world-class basketball program, tremendous history that goes back many, many years. And we need someone who can embrace that and help vault us going forward.
And I know you said you've spoken to the coaching staff. Have you had a chance to speak to the players? And if not, what's your message to them at a time like this?
We did speak with the players, as I might have mentioned. We spoke this morning and talked with them. Obviously a difficult time, but that we will go out and they have my 100% commitment. We will find an outstanding new head coach. And again, our staff remains in place, and Coach Murphy will be acting as our interim director, our interim head coach. So, again, unstable time. I encourage them to stay with us and look forward to the future.
Thank you.
Rich Herrera, Wildcats Radio 1290. Rich.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon, Dave. What was Coach Miller's reaction when you sat down and met with him this morning?
Sean was, as always, very professional and respectful. Those are difficult conversations, but he was, again, professional and very respectful.
When you're looking for a new head coach, you talked about some of the characteristics. Are you also open to looking for a proven veteran who's won before at the highest levels, and maybe even a young, vibrant head coach who's an up-and-comer that has potential? Is there some archetype that you're looking for?
I think all of those, characteristics, those profiles will be reviewed. Again, it's about aligning the right person with the right vision, someone who can embrace this program, and again, really focus on how it restores the great success that it has had going forward. And that, so again, not going to say we have one profile. We're going to talk to a lot of people. And I think as you go through that process, you learn about those people, you learn more about your program, you learn more about what it takes to bring it to the right level, what kind of partnership can be developed for success.
Next question, we'll go to Sean with the Daily Wildcat. Sean.
So when it comes to you talking about higher standards that you want, especially for the program, can you maybe specify on that? Is it Sweet 16? Is it Elite Eights, Final Fours, championships? What is it that you're expecting from this next coach?
Again, our expectations and our desire is for our program to be at the national level, to compete for championships here in this conference, an outstanding basketball conference, obviously, as was showcased this year in the NCAA tournament. But yes, the expectation is to be a nationally caliber program that can compete to be in the Final Four. That's what we want to do. Just saw our women's basketball program do that. It's a remarkable run by Coach Barnes and our women's program. That's the type of run we want to be on in this men's program as well. Very high standards. We're one of the best programs in the country, one of the most respected programs in the country. We want to compete at that level as well.
Greg Hansen, Arizona Daily Star. Greg?
Dave, have your 4 months with Jed Fish led you to believe that a man who has not been a head coach can be successful at a job like this?
Yeah, again, Greg, I'm very impressed with Jed, and again, different sport, different elements, different keys that were important. But there's no, again, I don't think there's a profile here we want the right person. That could be a head coach. That could be an assistant. I think bringing those characteristics to the table, again, understanding what it takes, having a vision, really how that connection point can happen with the great past of our basketball program. Those are all important things, but ultimately we need someone who can, grab hold of this program and take it to a higher level and continue to write chapters of success going forward. So again, I'm not going to say we've got one profile on this person. Again, very impressed with the job that Jed has done and looking forward to the successful future of our football program.
When you saw Michigan, Indiana, and North Carolina stay in family, did that strike you as perhaps a new template for hiring a coach?
Yeah, I think there's been those that have stayed in and those that have done it differently. Again, each unique place, each place is unique in its own way, has its own unique circumstances. The moment, the time, the individuals that are connected to it begin to dictate or begin to lead you in a direction. So I think it's inspiring what they've done. And, I think they, again, have had some success with that. So.
Thank you, Dave.
Jay Gonzalez, Fox Sports Radio, Tucson. Jay?
Hi, Dave. I know we keep coming back to this topic, but in the months since the season ended, did you come across some additional or new information that maybe you didn't have early on that kind of got us to where we are today? Or is it just been a constant evaluation that, information you had by the end of the season?
It's a constant evaluation. It was a very, obviously a very difficult and important decision. Wanted to take the appropriate time to consult, to have the conversations, to understand the direction. And then ultimately, that's why we landed where we are today.
Did this have anything to do with allowing the NCAA tournament to play through so you could, begin talking to any candidate that might be available, or did that have anything to do with the timing?
It really didn't. Obviously, there's a lot of attention on college basketball, but it really didn't. We just continued to work through the process and got us to today.
Okay, thank you.
We'll go with Simon. You're next. Arizona PBS. Simon.
Hey, how are you? Thank you so much for the time today. I was curious as to see, does the hiring of Jed Fish, similar to the previous question asked, in this timing as well with Sean Miller, kind of reflect a different era in Arizona athletics? And as you mentioned with the run of the women's basketball team, does that set any precedent as well?
Again, I think each situation, those three, our men's, women's basketball program and football are just, distinct in their own way. I don't think there's a linkage to it. Obviously, high-level success, excellence, our programs across the board are doing great things. We want all of our programs to do that. So, we're looking forward to the future. Again, the timing is what it is, and we need to move forward in our men's basketball program.
And with Arizona being one of the remaining Power 5 Division I schools with a head coaching vacancy at the men's basketball position, where does the school see itself among the rest of the D1 schools that have head coaching vacancies?
Well, I think it goes without saying that this is one of the premier jobs in the country. And it has great interest from a lot of people. It's about finding the right person, right fit, right time.
Thank you very much.
Ryan Wool, Arizona Daily Wildcat. Ryan.
Hey, Dave. I was wondering when you met with Sean Miller earlier today, if he was caught off guard by the news that you informed him of. And I was just wondering if you've met with him prior in the past months, past few weeks, and if he knew he was maybe on the hot seat.
Well, again, Ryan, I appreciate the question. I'm not going to specifically talk about the contents of our meetings. As I mentioned before, every time I've been with Sean, he's an incredibly respectful and professional person, and that was no different today or any of the previous meetings that we have had. And we have talked through this time period.
Thank you.
Christopher Bowen, you're next. Christopher.
And just wanted to double down on this. Is head coaching experience a requirement for the next head coach of the Arizona Wildcats, in your opinion?
I'm not, I think we're looking at everyone that can bring something to the table. I think there are outstanding head coaches that are sitting head coaches that have had head coaching experience. At the same time, I think there are outstanding assistants who have been parts of programs that are excellent, that bring a lot to the table. So it's about looking for the right fit, finding where we really need to go, and then developing that plan with those ultimate candidates, kind of seeing, is that the right plan? Is that where we want to go together in a partnership, as an athletic department to support a program, an administration is to support the program. And whether that's a head coach or an assistant, we'll get the right person.
All right, and we have time for one more. Bruce Pascoe, you're it, Bruce?
Hey, Dave, just to follow up, you said that you were, confident you could put together an attractive package for somebody, but I
Hey, Bruce, you froze up on my screen.
Bruce, we'll have to get back to you at another time, but we're out of time today.
Well, hey, thanks everyone. I appreciate your time today. Appreciate the conversation.